So the story goes that when conquistadors arrived in the New World looking for gold, they described it as a precious, bright yellow object. What the natives brought back was their most valuable yellow possession, corn. The mythology around corn in the Americas is as much about how valuable corn is to humanity as it is about the nuts and bolts of growing it. A lot of it is an allegory about farming. The ancient Mayas, for instance, have a corn god who is literally corn, like the actual plant. In their creation story, the corn god is decapitated and buried in Xibalba, their version of the underworld. In Xibalba, his head is hung on a dead tree where it instantly becomes fruitful. It is a story that also happens to represent the corn farming process. The cob is cut, the seeds are buried, and then the plant regenerates. To this day, the surviving Mayan populations in Guatemala, Mexico, Honduras, Belize, and El Salvador ceremoniously sacrifice the god of corn every harvest. They believe that the gods made humanity out of corn, so mothers eat corn-based food during breastfeeding so that their babies grow true flesh. In a Native American legend, the farming allegory goes one step even further. They have the legend of three inseparable sisters, corn, beans, and squash, who can only grow and thrive together because they nutritionally complement each other during growth.
Would you travel 1,000 miles to see a building made out of corn? Well, 120 years ago, when travel was quite a bit more grueling, a lot of people did just that. And today, thanks in part to this unusual ag attraction, the great state of South Dakota harvests a $500 million corn crop each year. Here's more than just a kernel of truth behind this colorful story. Its Moorish minarets soar over the intersection of 6th. Its Moorish minarets soar over the intersection of. Its Moorish minarets soar over the intersection of. Its Moorish minarets soar over the intersection of 6th and Main in downtown Mitchell, South Dakota. Telltale markers of a block-long monument to the great American grain. The world's only corn palace, brag the locals, a perpetually changing edifice that helped found a state.
The Mitchell Corn Palace is built to show people that we can grow things in South Dakota. And what better way to get people to come out here and farm than to build a building and cover it in what you grow?
In a lot of Irish folklore, there actually is references towards African people. In the folklore, Irish people refer to the original people who are said to be of African descent as being Fomorians, and they were dark-featured people of the sea. So, as being Fomorians, and they were dark-featured people of the sea. So, as being Fomorians, and they were dark-featured people of the sea. So many of the articles have stated that there has been African people living. So in the articles, it states that the people, the most likely of these is that they were Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were Canaanites, which came from the line of Ham. They were also well known for their sailing skills and to have traveled to the British Isles, which they call the Tin Islands. Another idea that they were Tuareg Berbers. The Berbers' language is Hamitic, and the Berber people lived in an area from which travel to Ireland would be easily accessible. The Berbers perhaps set sail from western Morocco and settled in Ireland before the Celts, making it their new home.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for allowing myself and my family, well, I'm appreciative to be here amongst all of my family at this point. Thank you. Yeah, this is. I will not necessarily keep this brief, but I will keep it as short as I can for just telling you guys how appreciative I am to be here. And there was a certain point in my life where I had come almost at a crossroads with my dad, my sister, my friends, my grandparents. And I had no idea kind of what direction to go into because I had lost a sense of a foundation that I know I had lost a long time ago. And knowing that my mom passed and left me such a powerful, empowering family, such as Standing Rock, as well as all the United Sioux Nation, but the fact that the support has been there, even without necessarily knowing each other, shows how special and what it means to be a native of this country and be a Native American. And for me, I had no idea. I had no idea about the history. I had no idea how inclusive this group is and what it means to be part of Standing Rock and be part of the United Sioux Nation.
Yeah.
And as a result, that's how we relate to even today, that the traditional people, they retain it, they're able to relate to it. And we're fortunate we have this. Several years ago, Hussein wrote him a letter and wanted him to take a delegation because they want to meet with Parliament. So Arvel put together a delegation. I didn't know that until a couple years ago. Last year, PLO came.
They came
here. Yeah.
to Pine Ridge? The Palestinian Liberation Organization came to Pine Ridge. Yeah?
And they called me in the middle of the night and said, "We're in town, we want to meet with you." So I didn't know what they were going to meet about, And so I said, "Okay, let's meet in the morning." So we had a shade over here. So we had to get together, and they came and they told me to get Richard Brokenose. So I went out and got him. And here he was one part of the delegation that went to Hussein years ago. And they wanted to know, Parliament wanted to know where we came from as Lakota people. And I said, how do you arrive at that? He said, well, 100 years ago there were 10 tribes and they only found 7. And since then we found 2 in the last 100 years. But we never found the 10th one. And then we think it's a Lakota nation. So how do you arrive at that? And he said, well, God gave a gift to each of the 9 bands. And we're the 10th. We're the only tribe in the USA that got a gift from God. So that's what they concluded, way they came from. And there's 11 Muslim nations are looking at you. If you say yes, we are part of it, then it'll help you, 11 nations. And that's where we're at.
And so the Muslim nations believe the Lakotas are one of their...
one of their bands.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
And so I want to thank all you guys for hosting myself, my sister, my best friend Brett Carroll, my grandparents, and the fact that I get to meet my family finally. I mean, you guys have no idea. This is finally meeting my mom's family, and now I'm with you guys forever, and I hope that you don't mind that, because I don't mind it either. So.